Hey guys, today we're going to make and animate the candle flickering effect for a pixel pumpkin using Piskel. Let's get started. Here we're going to use Piskel to create a pumpkin sprite. Let's go ahead and resize this right from the beginning. I'm going to make mine 64 by 64 and click resize on that. Let's go back into the gear and let's deselect this enable tile mode. Now we can resize our preview window for either a 3x or a full-size preview, making it a little bit easier to see what we're doing. Let's start by making a circle. Come over here to the 8 and 63, and bring that out to the 56. I'm going to create a new layer here. I'm going to make a smaller circle, kind of like that. I'm going to make it a little bit taller, and then I'm going to move it so that it's about there, and also I'm going to bring it down. Let's go ahead and choose our pumpkin color. Switch to the bucket fill tool and then fill this circle in. Now let's switch back to layer 1 and we'll bucket fill this circle as well. And move that layer up so that it sits in front of our newest circle. So layer 2, let's go ahead and clone this. And then click on this transform, and you can see that we very quickly get a sort of pumpkin looking shape, leaving that front kind of nice. All right, so I'm going to clone this layer again, and this time I'm going to use the hand tool and just move it so that it sits in the middle. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and name these. Front. This one's the rear. This one is left. And this one is right. It'll just make it easier as we're kind of going through some of this. So rear, I feel like I gotta move that over just a touch. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. Let's add a new layer. This time I'm going to work on the stalk, and this is personal preference. People either use green or brown. I'm going to go with green, and I want kind of a darker green here. So let's bring that up. Pencil tool, go a little wider, and then just have that kind of come out. Maybe put a few pixels over here. And then I'm going to drop that to 1 pixel. And if you notice, we're starting to get a little color palette that makes it nice and easy. I'm going to my black color palette here, and I'm going to very carefully, very carefully trace around. I'm going to go ahead and finish this. I'll meet you back here in a second. All right, so that looks better. Looks like kind of a cool pumpkin so far. See, layer 1, I thought I had that named as front. Must have hit Control Z or something. And then I want a new layer here. So I'm going to come here. Let's get something a little darker. And switch to our pencil tool. I'm just going to trace around the edges of my pumpkin. I'll meet you back here in a second. All right, that looks pretty good. It's hard to see here, but if you see on the little pop-out window, and that's this one here, this is looking pretty good. So I just keep that in the screen off to the side. So this is pumpkin shadow. Let's create a new layer. This time we're going to do the same thing with the green. So grab our green and then let's get a darker version of it. And we're just going to do the same thing where we trace around the edge. All right, and now I'm just going to put random marks in here just to kind of give it some character. All right, so then this one will be the stalk shadow. One more layer here. And this will be the fun one. So we're going to use this vertical mirror tool. And I want to switch to black. And this is where we're going to carve our pumpkin. So that looks pretty cool. Let's bucket fill that, bucket fill that. Looks like we can bring it out a little bit more. Make it look like the eyes are dripping a little. I don't know, is that too creepy? Alright, so that is the eyes. Mouth. Mouth looks kind of cool. Let's fill that in. And we'll do one more layer. That'll be the nose. And same thing with the mirror tool. Alright, so now that we have all of the different parts and we don't need to make any changes to anything, we can flatten this down. Let's just go ahead and start flattening all of this. And then we'll rename this as pumpkin. That looks kind of cool. So let's go ahead and duplicate this frame. And on this second frame, just in case we wanted some candle flicker, let's go ahead and get a nice yellow and then bucket fill the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. I want to do one more thing on the pumpkin with the yellow eyes for the candle flicker, and that is I want to select my black color and then trace around. I just feel like it's going to look a little cleaner to match the rest of the sprite. You can either use black or the darker yellow color, but I want to go with black. I think that'll look neat. And then before manipulating this layer directly, let's go ahead and create a new layer. If we make any mistakes, we can just go back and delete the layer. It looks like the vertical mirror tool is working as expected, saving me the effort of having to trace both eyes. So I will continue tracing around and meet you back here in a second. Alright, so that looks pretty cool, and just to get a better idea with the larger pop-out window, we can see that that looks pretty neat. So turning the frames per second back on, I definitely like it with the black around. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the nose and the mouth. Then go ahead and export this as a sprite sheet. 64 by 64 is fine. Download that as a sprite sheet file and go to your downloads or wherever you save the file, and you'll see that you have two very cool sprite pumpkins. So I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can download these if you just want to use a copy in your game. I hope this helps. We'll see you next time.